In today's aviation news recap, there is a lot to digest with a potential new Boeing 777X order in the cards. A major US airline is struggling and has posted a loss. And then onwards to Asia, with some developments with an airline codeshare partnership being revealed. Let's begin with the headline story, and maybe the one that caught your eye the most. That is the Boeing 777X order. Korean Air is reportedly in ongoing talks with American plane maker Boeing to purchase the upcoming wide body. According to two industry sources, Reuters reports that a purchase could consist of at least 10 777X jets. These aircraft would therefore operate alongside the existing fleet of Airbus and Boeing aircraft, and it will actually notably come only a few months after a commitment to the Airbus A350. This will depend on when the deal is finalised, if at all, it must be said, but it is an interesting move by the airline. We know, though, Korean Air operates a fleet of Boeing 777s. Per current current fleet data, 46 of these units are listed as active, and they're spread across several variants. We have, yes, the 777-200, but that goes to the 777-300 and upwards to the 777F with their cargo division. So they certainly rely heavily on this aircraft family. These Boeing 777s, though, average 12.4 years, and for some backgrounder, the -300s come in at 24.9 years of age, and while that is only a small amount of units, it certainly shows us why the airline might be targeting the 777X to increase efficiency. Interestingly, Reuters did report that a third industry source has stated that while Korean Air is always in talks with manufacturers over a new order, it does not have immediate plans to order this next generation variant. So maybe they're quite simply shopping around. It is worth noting that Korean Air is in a very important period in its company history. We know they're preparing for the hopeful conclusion of a multi-year process to merge Asiana Airlines into its mainline brand. As part of the ongoing merger, which does require approval from the US, a thorough fleet review and general company review is being conducted. This fleet review will determine which aircraft are surplus and which aircraft must be ordered, as well as what will come across, what will be enhanced, and everything else in between. Korean Air's purchase of the A350 was deemed necessary, and interestingly, key executives highlighted how it was important for the upcoming integration into Asiana, which we know flies this type. However, a switch back to Boeing and the 777X has certainly turned some heads. At the end of the day, this is still a prospective order, but it would mark another pretty significant moment in the program. At times, Boeing has, yes, adamantly struggled to obtain a firm interest in the 777X from customers. This could be for many reasons. I've discussed this here before on the channel, and the second one could be the inability to certify the aircraft, concerns just generally around the certification, and maybe the aircraft being unproven. It is the fact that the 777 is still a relatively young aircraft in most airlines' fleets. We also had the global pandemic, shift in industry trends, and so much more, as well as the 777X being such a large aircraft that maybe it's not optimal for every single carrier in the world. Adding Korean Air to the potential portfolio would further diversify the backlog and add another important customer to it. On to the next story. This one, a relatively short one, but Air India and All Nippon Airways have announced plans to enter a partnership with the goal of strengthening connectivity between Japan and India. As part of the partnership, the pair will focus on code sharing between key markets and building upon an existing relationship seen through Star Alliance. The pair do say that from May 23rd, the ability to select flights will be easier than ever by combining flights across the two airlines onto a single ticket. A pretty common practice, and if you've ever booked flights, you may not even notice just how this works, because it is so seamless, and that's a good thing. Additionally, for travelers that will be flying in higher classes or generally premium members of Star Alliance, they'll have access now to high-end features that really do enhance the travel experience across the two companies' hubs. These include accessing lounges, having priority boarding, and more across the airport. Already available for sale, ANA says that it's placing its airline code on flights between Tokyo, Narita, and Delhi. In response, Air India is adding its airline code between Tokyo Haneda and New Delhi and Tokyo Narita and Mumbai. The pair are very excited about building upon a strategic partnership and believe it will very much enhance your connectivity. Japan and India are slated to continue seeing demand increase, and this partnership is expected to cater to this growth. Initially, yes, the focus will rest on code sharing, but one thing that was noted in the press release and by key executives is they've certainly not ruled out exploring the implementation of further initiatives to deepen their collaborative efforts. All this, though, will come with time and certainly will not be an overnight thing. You would imagine in the more short to medium term, you would see more of the airline code being added to services, with potentially further down the line, as I discussed, new initiatives being implemented. Over to the final story of today, and it's a big one. JetBlue have posted, yes, a pretty hefty loss during the first quarter of 2024, as they battled ongoing increased difficulties, a merger collapse, and so much more on top of that. The airline specifically posted a USD 716 million loss during the first quarter, and revenues are expected to fall considerably in the second quarter too. JetBlue forecasts a drop of more than 10% across Q2, and full-year revenues will be down further than the initial forecast laid out. JetBlue's last few years have been incredibly turbulent, as the airline has battled many challenges. We saw the global pandemic. However, there were other business decisions and an overall model that has seen it struggle across specific markets. In response to these struggles, JetBlue has really put down the hammer on implementing cost-saving measures. These measures are being implemented with the sole intent of preserving its long-term position, which some would argue has been at risk. Notably, we've seen the airline slash routes that have been deemed unprofitable, while also adjusting other elements of its business. One of the biggest decisions that has certainly impacted its Q1 results was the abandonment of a planned tie-up with Spirit Airlines that came following a court ruling essentially rejecting the deal. For quite a period, JetBlue had been eyeing consolidation within the US. Notably, it eyed Spirit Airlines as the perfect candidate to bring together this new airline, if you will. The prospective tie-up was important as well to the long-term success of both airlines, because at the end of the day, the US sector is highly competitive. The hope was that JetBlue, with the addition of Spirit, could push itself into becoming one of the largest carriers in the region, and truly try and compete with your big three. However, after much deliberation, the court believed that the negatives far outweighed the positives, and they rejected the deal. While a deal was appealed for a short period, JetBlue said enough was enough, and as a result, was forced to pay over $500 million in breakup fees. But looking ahead, the airline says it does want to move back towards profitability as a standalone carrier. And now, having paid that breakup fee and resolving that transaction, they believe they're well on the way to achieving this. JetBlue, however, will need to navigate some existing problems, that is, the Pratt & Whitney engine issues. They say that they expect groundings to take place across 2024. But worse still, while they don't have a specific number, 2025 and 2026 are set to see more aircraft groundings, which they'll need to navigate as they continue to introduce more planes, cope with schedule adjustments, and so much more. Thank you very much for tuning into this aviation news recap. If you have any thoughts, you're more than welcome to drop it down below in the comments. Be sure you are staying tuned, same place, same time tomorrow, for your latest industry developments.